What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Chat HVAC. How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Chat HVAC, where we give you quick answers to your comfort questions. My name is Scott Jackson. I'm with Comfort Solutions Heating and Cooling, a residential-based heating and cooling contractor in Lebanon, Ohio. And today, we're going to dig into a topic that comes up all the time when we're talking to homeowners: indoor air quality. Specifically, do you actually need all of these indoor air quality accessories? We've got UV lights, air purifiers, high efficiency filters. The options can sometimes feel overwhelming. Are these upgrades actually worth the investment? Or are they just some type of hype? Is there a scam associated with indoor air quality products? The good news is I'm going to break all this down for you: what works, what doesn't, and how to know if your home actually needs one of these add-ons. By the end of the episode, you'll have a clear picture of what makes sense for you and your comfort budget as well. So, why does indoor air quality even matter? There's a few different facets to this. I'm going to go over 4 of them with you today. The first of which is going to be the health angle. So poor indoor air quality is typically linked to increased allergies, people who have respiratory diseases like asthma, COPD, also fatigue, headaches, long-term respiratory problems, those kinds of things. Helping mitigate the symptoms that you might experience from these already pre-existing conditions. For me personally, I have asthma and I have allergies all year long. So indoor air quality is something that I tend to think about. I'd like the air in my home to be somewhat breathable for me, right? So the first of which is the health angle. Why indoor air quality matters: to help with your current health states or health issues. Now, reason number 2. Everyday reality: dust, pet dander, pollen, smoke, VOCs from cleaning products, cooking fumes, all of those things circulate indoors. So if you don't have anything to help deal with those things, that's just going to continue to circulate, and the air that you're breathing inside your home a lot of times isn't much better, or might be a little bit worse with the cleaning products and chemicals and things like that are in our home, than breathing outside air. So having these indoor air quality products can help mitigate some of the effects from the stuff that's already going on in our everyday lives. If you're like me, you've got kids, you've got a dog, doors are open, kids are running through the house, dogs are tracking stuff in the house, dogs are shedding, everything like that is going on. And if you don't have something to help mitigate dust, pet dander, pet odors, even smoke, from whether it's from cooking or whether it's cigarette smoke or chemicals from cleaning products, things like that, or even if you're cooking a big greasy breakfast, that smell is going to be hanging around your house for probably the next couple hours unless you have some sort of air purification device. The third reason is kind of the reality that we live in now, post 2020, is people are more aware of viruses and things like that, contagions, allergens, bacteria. They're just generally more conscious about things that can make them sick. But air quality issues go far beyond just germ production. It's the quality of air that you're actually breathing inside your home. So not only is germs and bacteria and viruses and contagions and things like that included in the indoor air quality solution, but we also have things like I just previously mentioned: dirt, dust, pet dander, odors, all of those kinds of things. They're not going to get you sick, but they might make life a little bit unpleasant in the home as far as the air that you're breathing. Now, our perspective here at Comfort Solutions is we just try to honestly relay what these devices are, what they do, if you actually need them or not. Is duct cleaning really a scam? Is a UV light actually necessary? Is it just going to go in my ductwork and light up the inside, or is it actually going to have a benefit? We typically try to thoroughly explain these benefits to our customers and let them know, like, hey, say their duct just got cleaned, or the inside of the duct system is already relatively clean. We're not going to push a duct cleaning on them if they don't need it. So our perspective on indoor air quality is similar with people buying new equipment, buying repair options. If you don't need it, or if it's not going to be beneficial to you, we're not going to unnecessarily push it on you, if that makes sense. So some common indoor air quality add-ons. So the first of which that I want to talk about today is the high efficiency filter. This is probably the most popular indoor air quality add-on. We have a whole episode on filters. I'll link that below. Filters are a big thing. I'm pretty sure I've mentioned them in every single episode that we've done so far. But high efficiency filters is kind of the gateway drug to to indoor air quality, if you will. But everything from MERV 8 to MERV 16 with activated charcoal in it. We have a whole slew of filters. There's even HEPA filters. They can give your home hospital grade air. It's extremely clean, extremely efficient. They do a great job. But for more information on the MERV ratings, what that means, what MERV even means, go ahead and check out that episode on air filters that I have linked below. That's going to give you all of that information, and I won't bore you with running over it all over again. So, but pros to high efficiency filters. Some pros to this are they capture smaller particles, which is good for allergies. Now, cons, there can be some higher resistance to airflow. It can strain the system if it gets plugged up. Sometimes the really high efficiency 1-inch filters are really the culprit of this. So like your 3M 1-inch filters that are extremely high efficiency, those I typically recommend to replace every 30 days. Now, they say on the package that they can go 90 days, that it's a 90-day filter, but really, in my experience, those particular filters, and this is no shot at 3M, this is no shot at anything like that, it's just the reality of the filter. It's so dense that it doesn't really take much to become restrictive to your airflow. And just to be completely honest with everybody, most duct systems currently are operating off of an extremely high pressure, an extremely high amount of strain already, just due to the fact that most of these systems are retrofitted and things like that, and airflow isn't set properly. So that's something to be mindful of, is kind of your baseline, even if you don't have a filter in it, is most likely elevated higher than what it should be. Now, if you want some more information on airflow or what that means, what the heck is static pressure, comment below if that's an episode that you might like to see in the future. I'd like to get your input on that. That's something that I'm thinking about going over with homeowners and trying to explain what airflow is, why it's important, and how it can affect your system in a negative or positive way. So yeah, entry point into indoor air quality products, high efficiency filters. If you want more information on high efficiency filters, check out the air filter episode that is linked below this video. Or if you're listening on a podcast platform, it'll be in the show notes. Now, the next one that people tend to jump into is UV light. So they're marketed to kill bacteria, viruses, mold spores, things like that. Now, the reality of this is there's so many different kinds of UV lights. You have your standard UV lights that are really only effective at killing mold. They don't really purify the air. They don't really kill a whole lot of bacteria. They certainly don't purify the air in the home that's not in the immediate duct system. So you have kind of those entry-level UV lights, but then you have some higher quality UV lights that some manufacturers have developed, like the Remy Halo by RGF, for example. They're not a sponsor of this video, but I did want to mention them because they are a light that we work with here and one that I'm familiar with. But these things are super effective at killing all of the things that were just listed, and they kill allergens, virus, bacteria. They help mitigate dust. They help make your filter more efficient by causing dust molecules to attract to themselves, making them larger, making them easier for your filter to catch. They do a wonderful job, and they do actually circulate through the air in your home and clean the air. They are quite literally a whole home air purifier, which that's going to kind of get into the next category that we're going to talk about as far as common indoor air quality products. But your basic level UV lights, the reality, they're really only effective when organisms are exposed long enough for the UV light to kill them. And duct systems often move air too fast for these basic UV lights to really be super effective. That's why we don't typically recommend your standard UV light any longer. We typically jump on the more UV light air purifier hybrid type device. So that is something that is maybe a common misconception. Not all UV lights are created equal. I'll say that. But good use for your basic standard UV light. It prevents mold growth on the coil. It keeps your coil clean of growth, and but it does not sterilize or clean or purify the entirety of the air in the home. Really, all they're good for is the immediate vicinity in which they're installed. Moving on here, we're going to flow right into air purifiers and ionizers. So there are some standalone air purifiers that you can put in each home. Or there are whole house systems. So the Remy Halo by RGF that I just mentioned previously, that's a really good example of kind of a UV light air purifier hybrid, but there's also kind of an ionization element there on their devices as well. There's also some other devices like the iWave, which is an ionization device that sits inside your blower compartment. And what they do, ionizers, they sometimes create ozone as a byproduct. There's some stuff out there that's saying that can be harmful. Technically, I suppose it can be, but really, truly, there's not really been much of an issue with that in residential applications. If this ozone production is something that you want to avoid, I would do your research into which ionization or air purifier device that you'd like to get for your home, because I do have some that do and don't produce ozone. But some things that you might consider is like a room-to-room air purifier. If you don't want to invest the money in purchasing a whole home air purifier like the Remy Halo, portable air purifiers may work better for a single room than maybe sticking a whole home air purifier in your ductwork. Now, that is up for debate. It depends on everybody's duct system. Everybody's duct system is different. Everybody's house is laid out differently. If you find that you have a room where you feel like the air quality is a little bit lesser than the rest of the house, then I would recommend a standalone air purifier for that room. Now, one thing that's really nice, actually, with some recent developments in some smart thermostats, and you can even buy these devices on Amazon as well, is they have indoor air quality monitors. So, like when you pull up the weather app on your phone, you can see the air quality rating, and it tells you if it's in the green, the yellow, or the red, and it tells you the quality of air that's outside. Well, they have that for inside the house as well. So if you're really wanting to monitor your air quality in your home, say you have somebody with a respiratory issue like COPD in the house, and you really want to make sure that the air quality is the highest it possibly can be to make life a little bit easier on that family member that has COPD or asthma or whatever, you can get this indoor air quality monitor. You can put it in a common area of the house, and you can generally get a feel as to what the quality of air is. Now, we are a Lennox dealer here at Comfort Solutions. We have been for over 30 years. With Lennox's signature thermostat, their S40 thermostat, they also have wireless indoor air quality monitors that sync up to your thermostat. You'll be able to see all of that information on your dashboard there. So if you are a Lennox customer, that is something that I would maybe consider. It would integrate with the equipment that you already have. The accessory isn't that expensive, and it would be really beneficial. You could see it from your phone. It would be extremely convenient for you. So I would highly recommend that as well. So pressing on here, we have humidifiers or dehumidifiers. Now, depending on the climate that you're in, you may not need a dehumidifier. So here in Ohio, whole home dehumidifiers are not exactly common. It is humid here in the summer, but really the extremely humid days only last a couple months. And the humidity isn't to the level that it's really affecting the home in the wintertime beyond what the air conditioner can handle. Now, like I said before, every house is different. Every duct system is different. And a dehumidifier sometimes has been the answer to a customer's humidity problems in the summertime up here. Dehumidifiers are more popular down in southern climates or more excessively humid climates, things like that, where humidity is a big issue and it's extremely humid for large portions of the year. It just isn't like that here. So whole home humidifiers, they're great in dry climates, which our winter here is incredibly dry. And they also protect wood floors. They reduce static. They ease breathing. They just make it feel more comfortable in the wintertime in the house, because the reality is you can add heat to a cold house. But if you don't have any humidity, say your humidity level is matching what's outside and it's 13% humidity or 20% humidity, it's going to feel pretty dry. It does make it feel a little cooler in the house as well. So humidity often just adds that level of kind of unrecognized comfort. You may not notice it when it's there, but when it's broken and you've had it before, you'll know it's gone. So those are good things to have here. Now, regardless of whatever climate you're in, if you are in a state that has basements, now coastal living oftentimes doesn't have basements, so sorry for you folks out on the coast. But like here in Ohio, 75-80% of the houses here have basements, or crawl spaces even. Those are perfect places for standalone dehumidifiers. So you don't need a whole home dehumidifier, but a dehumidifier in the basement, a dehumidifier, anything below grade, your crawl space, your basement, those kinds of things. Those are perfect applications for standalone dehumidifiers. And I would actually highly recommend that. So I would consider that. It prevents mold, it regulates humidity, and it's just all around. It's better for the house. You're removing excessive moisture from a place that you don't really want moisture in. But some people will say that there's a downside to humidifiers, dehumidifiers. They need maintenance. It's an extra thing that you have to maintain every year. You have an extra cost if something goes bad. I don't really see those as downsides. I just kind of see that as a reality of indoor air quality. So if you want higher air quality, you want better humidity regulation in the house, it's going to come with some added maintenance, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. Most contractors, like HVAC contractors like us, will even offer maintenance plans that will include your humidifier as well, and we'll change your pad for you. We'll make sure that the solenoid's working. We'll make sure everything's in ship-shape, working order with that humidifier before we leave. So if you want an episode on humidifiers, comment below or send us an email. We'd love to hear from you. If humidity is something that's important to you or something that you maybe don't understand as well as you want to, leave a comment, send us an email. We'd like to get your input on future episodes of Chat HVAC because we'd like to deal with topics that you, the homeowner, the person living in the home, actually care about. And pressing on here, the last one here, we have ERVs and HRVs. So these are energy recovery ventilators and heat recovery ventilators. So what these do is they solve the problem of stale indoor air in energy efficient homes. So these are almost exclusive to like maybe LEED certified homes. If you have a LEED certified home, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't know what I'm talking about, your home's probably not LEED certified, which don't feel bad. Most homes in America are not. But people are moving that way, and they're extremely tight. They're extremely well insulated. They have hardly any infiltration. The windows are extremely high quality. Everything is just wonderful. Now, I would recommend everybody's home be LEED certified, but that's obviously really hard to do with a retrofit. So, but where the ERVs and the HRVs, again, energy recovery ventilators and heat recovery ventilators, where what they do is they solve the problem of stale indoor air in tight, energy-efficient homes. How they do this? They exchange indoor and outdoor air while recovering heat or cooling energy. So they're going to circulate some outside air, some fresh air into the home, into the duct system to kind of give it a kind of clean air. It doesn't have any leaking windows or things like that to be able to get some fresh air ventilation. So what it's going to do is it's going to manufacture that, and it's going to bring in a certain amount of outdoor air and combine it with the air that's in your system. Now, these are great for new builds, or it can even be retrofit if you're completely gutting the house and like remodeling it, renovating it, that kind of thing. If you got it down to the studs, that's a perfect time to do it, because then you can spray foam insulation, you can make everything as tight as it needs to be, and then add your ERV or HRV device to the home. So, in summary, common indoor air quality add-ons. We have high efficiency filters, we have UV lights, we have air purifiers or ionizers, humidifiers and dehumidifiers, and ERVs/HRVs. So those are the 5 devices that we talked about. They're probably the most popular. Now, moving on to the most pressing question, do you actually need them? So, situations where add-ons make sense. Say you have a family member with a severe respiratory issue like asthma, COPD, extreme allergies, those kinds of things. That is a perfect scenario. to invest in your indoor air quality with devices that make sense for you. If you have homes with multiple pets, say you have 2 dogs and 3 cats running around, or 7 guinea pigs, and you got hair, you got dander, you got odors, that is also a great home for indoor air quality products. Areas with high outdoor pollution or wildfires. So you folks over there in the West, fortunately here in Ohio, we don't have those, but I know wildfires are more common over on the western side of the country. Indoor air quality products are a great thing, especially when you have high outdoor pollution or wildfires present. And the last one here would be older homes with moisture problems. So this is really where we would want to invest in some humidity regulation, maybe some ERVs or HRVs, but also like an air purifier as well, because where there's moisture, there's odors and things like that. And you just want to make sure that everything is regulated and taken care of. And the air that you're breathing is the highest quality that it can possibly be. Where they may not be necessary. So if your main issue is dust, but you never change your filters, you probably just need to invest in better filters, or maybe just set a reminder on your phone to change your filter. Again, I'm going to have that filtration episode linked below. Go ahead and watch that while I stress and passionately describe the importance of changing your filter on a regular basis. Also, a situation where it may not be sense, buying a UV light when humidity and ventilation are really the problem. So the point that I'm trying to make here is, certain products, like the more popular products, are not going to solve problems that they're not designed to solve. So if you have a humidity problem, you have a ventilation problem, and you're going to buy a UV light, do not be shocked or surprised if that UV light doesn't fix your comfort problem. All that's going to do is make the air that you're breathing cleaner. So it's just, you need to identify the problem, have a professional come out and identify your issue, describe to them the feelings and the experience that you've had in the house, because I'm a big advocate for the customer isn't crazy. They live there. They know what they experience, and I try to listen to them as much as I can. But make sure you're investing in the proper indoor air quality solution, and you're not just buying this is an indoor air quality product and my indoor air quality sucks, so I'm going to try to fix it. And then the last thing, a situation where it may not be necessary, is adding, similar to the previous scenario, but like adding a purifier without addressing duct leakage or the source of pollutants, things like that. So even if you have excessive return air duct leakage and you put in a UV light, that's going to put a lot of strain on that device there, because you have some leakage and you're pulling in things that maybe it doesn't need to pull in. Oftentimes systems are in the basement. For those of you who have basements, that's typically where our laundry rooms are, and our detergents and our cleaning agents and things like that. And all of that getting into your return duct can be bad news for your air quality, but also if you have a gas furnace or something like that, can be really bad news for your heat exchanger, secondary heat exchanger, things like that. They can be corrosive. I can get into a whole episode about gas furnaces and why duct leakage is important to get taken care of. So if that's an episode that you want to see, comment that below, send us an email. We'd like to get your input on that. Now, foundational indoor air quality steps before you get an add-on. So there's some things that you can do yourself before looking at if an accessory like a UV light or humidifier or higher efficiency air filter is something that's necessary for you. Make sure you're doing regular filter changes. Again, I'm not going to harp on that. I have already very passionately advocated for regular filter changes on a previous episode that's linked below. Make sure your ductwork is sealed. So invest in getting a duct sealant done on your system, at least in the ductwork that's exposed. Obviously, the ductwork that's in the walls and the ceiling, you can't do that without major renovations. But get all the ductwork that's exposed sealed. Make sure all the joints are sealed. Make sure all the S-lock connections are sealed. Make sure everything is sealed up with either like a mastic, or often referred to as duct butter, or at the very least with foil tape. Now, that's not ideal. Duct butter is better, but tape will get you by and at least generally get you close to being sealed. Now, there are products out there. There are companies out there that can do like an internal duct sealing. So they'll spray something in your ductwork, and the compound goes through your duct system as the blower is activated, and it will find the holes, and I believe it will fill gaps up to 3 or 4 inches, and it will completely seal the duct system altogether. So that's an incredibly high-priced product, but I can't understate the importance of getting your ductwork sealed and how that can affect your comfort. Some other things that you can do before investing in indoor air quality products or seeing if that's even necessary for you is routine HVAC maintenance. And then the last thing would be kind of source control. So what I mean by that is controlling what you can with the sources of contamination or pollutants or things like that in your home that you're wanting to address with indoor air quality products. So vacuum regularly. If you have pets, make sure you sweep the house. Make sure you vacuum. Make sure it's not just lying on the floor all the time, and you can try to manage some of that hair and dander. Limit harsh chemicals indoors. So now I know the world that we live in, and we try to clean things. We have harsh chemical agents, things like that. So I understand some of that's unavoidable, but just avoid it as much as you can. Don't use it in excess, things like that. Don't smoke in the house. If you're a smoker, keep it outside. That's perfectly fine. Unless you want to do it inside, no big deal. If you're a smoker who wants to smoke inside your house, you're probably not watching this episode. But no, I'm not. So wrapping up here, we got some, the final thing I kind of want to talk about here is just tips for homeowners, tips for you guys. So some questions to ask your contractor. What problem is this add-on solving in my home specifically? There are a lot of times where people just suggest add-ons because they're supposed to suggest add-ons, which, I'm part of running an HVAC company. I get that. I understand that. You're a business. You got to make money. But a good question for you as an educated homeowner who listens to Chat HVAC on a regular basis would be, what problem is this add-on solving? So is there a problem in my home that this add-on is going to be fixing? What maintenance does it require? A lot of times that's an important aspect. If you're buying a HEPA filtration system, you want to know what maintenance is needed on that system to keep it up and running in the best way possible. And then, do I need a system upgrade first? Now, this is probably a question you don't want to ask, but if your system's 30 years old and you're investing in high quality indoor air quality products, you might look at just getting your system upgraded altogether. Lots of times people will throw in these indoor air quality products with system installation, things like that. Next, some low-cost steps that anybody can try first. Change your filter on a regular basis. Use exhaust fans when cooking and showering. Add houseplants for small boost in VOC absorption. These things can actually absorb these chemicals. So go ahead and add houseplants there. And open windows when the outdoor air quality is good. And again, you can monitor the outdoor air quality on your phone, on the weather app, things like that. And it'll tell you if it's a good air quality day, bad air quality day. And by opening your windows on a good air quality day, you're going to allow that high quality outdoor air to circulate through your home. It's just going to be a lot better for your general indoor air quality. Now, I would encourage you to get an indoor air quality assessment rather than just buying accessories based on a sales pitch. Don't get me wrong. I suggest these to customers every single week, but I generally have a reason for it. So one thing that you want to do is just get an assessment, measure what your indoor air quality actually is, see if you're even experiencing any sort of issue like excessive static in the home, bloody noses, or if you're sneezing a lot, you have high allergies in the house, people are getting sick in the house, those kinds of things. Those are good things to look at and see if you're actually experiencing any of those issues. So to wrap it all up, some key takeaways here. Indoor air quality is important, but add-ons aren't always the first step. There are some things that we just talked about previously that you can do in advance of buying products. Takeaway number 2, maintenance and source control usually deliver the most bang for your buck. So get regular HVAC maintenance, keep your house clean. Those are perfect things that you can do to help aid in the indoor air quality elevation in your home. Third key takeaway. If you're considering an add-on, make sure it solves a specific problem that you're experiencing. You don't want to invest in something if it's not going to solve the problem that you're having. Now, that's all I've got for you today. I want to encourage you guys to go ahead and subscribe to Chat HVAC, leave a review if you're on a podcast platform, and reach out to us at our phone number or our email listed in the description. If you're here in the Cincinnati, Ohio area, we would love to talk with you. If you have questions about indoor air quality, or really if you're anywhere in the country and you have questions about indoor air quality, call us at the number listed below or send us an email. Most of the time, I'll be the one to get back with you, so you can talk to me directly. But with all that being said, thanks for joining me on Chat HVAC today, where we give you quick answers to your comfort questions. I do hope that this episode gave you some clarity on indoor air quality add-ons and how to decide what's really worth it for your home. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to like, subscribe, and share it with a friend or neighbor who might be wondering if indoor air quality products are a scam or not. And don't forget to leave us a review, whether it's on Google or whether it's on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. It helps more. And don't forget to leave us a review, whether you're on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or even on Google. It helps more homeowners find the show and get the information that you find valuable. Next time on Chat HVAC, we are going to be tackling another hot topic. It's kind of in the indoor air quality sphere. We didn't mention it today because we're going to be talking about it next week. What is the truth about duct cleaning? You've seen the ads, you've heard the promises, but does it actually improve your system's performance and your air quality? We're going to separate fact from fiction next week. Until then, I'm Scott Jackson with Comfort Solutions. This is Chat HVAC, and we'll see you next time.